Hello, I'm Teacher Crystal, and this is 1, 2, 3 English with me, where you can learn English through dictation. All you need is a notebook and a pencil because this class is for you. Listen to the sentences I read, you write what you hear the best you can, and we'll fix it later. Are you ready? Let's go! Hello, class! Welcome to all the new students who are joining us today. Today, we are ready for Lesson 22. You can always go back and watch the videos that you haven't seen yet on YouTube or on Facebook. Today, we are going to talk about the negative present tense verb of to be as a contraction. Yesterday we talked about the positive contractions. Today it is the negative contractions. So I had a question on my Facebook page that asked if you can use am not as a contraction. What do you think? Yes or no? The answer is no, you cannot. The negative present tense contractions are as follows. I am not does not have a negative contraction with it. So you cannot shorten that one. I am not stays, I am not. That is the correct form. Sometimes people will say ain't, but that is not correct. You are not, you aren't. They are not, they aren't. We are not, we aren't. He is not, he isn't. She is not, she isn't. The moon is not, the moon isn't. Dad is not, Dad isn't. Remember, if you have a person or if you have a thing that is singular, you can use it with isn't. The moon isn't bright. Dad isn't home. You can also use they if you have a plural noun. So you can say they aren't there instead of saying the balls aren't there. Or the boys aren't there. They aren't there. So anything that you can replace they with, you can use aren't with. So these are the correct negative present tense contractions. Remember, a contraction is when you can change one letter and use an apostrophe to make it shorter and faster. So it's just a shortcut, but it is very common. So it's important to know and understand these contractions so when you hear them, you understand what is being said. So let's begin with some dictation today. Now, dictation is very important in my classes because dictation helps you learn in so many different ways. It benefits your listening skills so that you can hear a native speaker speak, you can hear the pronunciation, you hear the words, you get to practice your writing as you write what you hear, you have to practice your punctuation, you have to practice your capitalization, you have to practice grammar and know what is being said and how it's being said. So there's a lot to learn in 10 simple sentences. These don't take a long time, but you write them the best you can, and then we will go over them together, and you can correct your mistakes so you can go back and read them later. It's important that you write these things in your notebook so that you can learn them. Now let's begin. We always begin with the date. You will learn the months of the year. You will learn the days of the week. You will learn ordinal numbers. And you will learn capitalization as we write this every day. So the first one, I want you to write in your notebook. Today is Friday, January 22nd, 2021. Today is Friday, January 22nd, 2021. Today is Friday, January 22nd, 2021. Now for number 2, I want you to write, I am not at home. I am not at home. I am not at home. Number 3, they aren't cold. They aren't cold. They aren't cold. Number 4, she isn't sad. She isn't sad. She isn't sad. Number 5, you aren't a doctor. You aren't a doctor. You aren't a doctor. Number 6, we aren't busy. We aren't busy. We aren't busy. Number 7, Tom isn't 10. Tom isn't 10. Tom isn't 10. Number 8, he isn't angry. He isn't angry. He isn't angry. Number 9, my sister isn't her friend. My sister isn't her friend. My sister isn't her friend. Number 10, I am not hungry. I am not hungry. I am not hungry. How did you do? Did you write all 10 sentences? I hope you wrote them in your book so we can check them together and you can correct your mistakes. Are you ready? Let's look at number 1, the date. Now for some of you, you have been doing these lessons for 22 days. That's when we began. And you can always go back and watch them so you can get all of them. But for 22 days, we have practiced the date. And the American format is the day, the month, the date, and the year. So I know in some other countries it's different. So this is the American way of writing the date. Today is Friday, January 22nd, 2021. Now there is a comma after Friday, there's a comma after the 22nd, and there's a period at the end of 2021. A sentence that ends with a period can also be called a telling sentence because it tells information. It's not a question. It doesn't ask any information. It gives information. So this is a telling sentence. It just tells us the date. Also, notice Friday has a capital F because it's a day of the week. January has a capital J because it is a month of the year. And every sentence always begins with a capital letter as well. So today has a capital T. You notice that we said the 22nd because when we give a date, we use an ordinal number. Number 2, I am not at home. Remember, in the correct way of speaking English, we do not use a contraction for I am not. So you have to write it out. I am not at home. It's a telling sentence. All of these are telling sentences. We don't have any questions today because today we're just looking at the negative contractions. Also, remember, these are the negative contractions for to be, but there are other negative contractions too, and we can talk about those later. For now, let's look at number 3. They aren't cold. Now, this is a contraction. So remember, in a contraction, we take out a letter. In this case, we take out the O for not. So we write out the subject pronoun, and we cut the O from the not. They aren't cold. Number 4, she isn't sad. Sad is a feeling. Remember, many times when we use the verb to be as a main verb in our sentence, then we are using it to describe an adjective, or we are using it as a noun. Just like the next one, number 5. You aren't a doctor. So there's an apostrophe after the N and before the T. Number 6. We aren't busy. We aren't busy. Number 7. Tom isn't 10. 10 refers to his age. So you could also say Tom isn't 10 years old. And the contraction isn't with Tom. Number 8. He isn't angry. He isn't angry. Again, isn't is our contraction. In this one, instead of using a subject pronoun, we're just using a subject. My sister isn't her friend. We use the word isn't. My sister isn't her friend. And number 10, I am not hungry. If someone were to ask you, hey, do you want to eat? You can say, no thank you, I am not hungry. So now you know. So how did you deal with these negative contractions with the to be verb? I hope you did well with them. And I had one other question that I had asked on the Facebook page. And that was, how do you make a negative contraction? So after this class, I think you should know. But what do you do to make a negative contraction? That's how you make a negative contraction. N apostrophe T. And you can use these with other words too, like hasn't, didn't, don't. I think you did awesome with this lesson, and I look forward to seeing you again in tomorrow's class. So I'm glad to have you here. I hope you're following along and doing the classes with me. And if you would like to get the classes every day, just subscribe on YouTube. Goodbye.